I never imagined my life would turn into a nightmare. I thought I had it all: a loving husband, a stable home, and the joy of having my sister close. But I was blind to the betrayal that was unfolding right under my nose. It all started when my younger sister Linda moved in with us. She had fallen on hard times, and as her older sister, I did what any family would do. I welcomed her with open arms. I wanted to help her get back on her feet, to give her a safe place to stay. I trusted her, I trusted him, but trust is such a fragile thing, isn't it? It shatters in an instant, leaving nothing but sharp, jagged edges that cut deeper than any knife. At first, the signs were small, too small for me to notice. The lingering glances between them, the hushed whispers when I walked into the room, the way my husband, Daniel, started pulling away from me, physically, emotionally. I blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't giving him enough attention. Maybe I was too caught up in work and life. I should have listened to my instincts. One evening, I came home earlier than expected from a work trip. I was exhausted, eager to see my husband, to hold him. But as I stepped into the house, something felt off. The lights were dim, the air thick with a tension I couldn't quite place. And then I heard it, soft giggles coming from our bedroom. My heart pounded as I walked down the hallway, my breath caught in my throat. I reached for the doorknob with trembling fingers, hoping, praying that I was wrong. But nothing could have prepared me for what I saw when I pushed that door open. There, tangled in the sheets of our marital bed, was my husband and my sister. The world around me shattered in an instant. I couldn't move, I couldn't breathe. My mind refused to process what my eyes were seeing. Linda gasped, clutching the sheets to her chest, but she didn't look ashamed. She smirked. My husband, my Daniel, just stared at me, wide-eyed, as if he had been caught in something trivial. I wanted to scream, to cry, to throw something, but I couldn't. The pain was too great, suffocating me. "How long?" I managed to choke out, my voice barely a whisper. Linda stretched lazily, as if this was all some sick game. "A while," she said, her tone dripping with satisfaction. "Long enough." Long enough? I turned to Daniel, my husband, my partner, the man who had vowed to love and cherish me. "Tell me she's lying," I pleaded, desperation clawing at my chest. He looked away, and that's when I knew. This wasn't a mistake, it wasn't a moment of weakness. This was an affair, a betrayal carefully carried out over months, maybe years. I felt my knees buckle beneath me, but I refused to fall. Not in front of them, not in front of the people who had destroyed my world. Then Linda delivered the final blow. "Oh," she said, her hand resting on her flat stomach. "I'm pregnant, by the way." The room spun, my vision blurred. Pregnant. My sister was pregnant with my husband's child. I wanted to scream, to tear them both apart, but all I could do was stare. Linda wasn't sorry, she wasn't remorseful. If anything, she looked victorious. "I always envied you," she admitted, twirling a strand of her hair. "Your perfect house, your perfect husband, your perfect life. But I guess it wasn't so perfect after all, was it?" A cold, bitter laugh bubbled up in my throat. "Number? It wasn't perfect, it was all a lie." A silence filled the room, so thick and heavy it threatened to suffocate me. My hands trembled at my sides, my body frozen in place as if I had been turned to stone. Pregnant. The word echoed in my mind, bouncing off the walls of my shattered heart. I looked at Daniel, hoping, stupidly hoping, that he would say something, anything, to make this nightmare disappear. But he didn't. He just sat there, gripping the sheets, his face a mixture of guilt and shame. And Linda? She was smirking, as if she had won some twisted prize. That was when something inside me snapped. I took a deep breath and steadied myself. My entire world had collapsed, but I refused to let them see me break. I swallowed my pain, forced back the tears burning my eyes, and lifted my chin. "You disgust me," I said, my voice low, dangerous. Linda laughed, shaking her head. "Oh, please, don't act like you're some innocent victim here. You always had everything handed to you. Maybe it's my turn now." Her words cut deeper than any knife. I had loved my sister, protected her, given her everything I could. And this was how she repaid me? By stealing my husband, by tearing apart my marriage. "You were my sister," I whispered, my voice breaking. She rolled her eyes. And you were always the golden child, the one who had it all. You have no idea how much I resented you. Daniel deserves someone who actually excites him, not someone who just plays house. I turned to Daniel, hoping for a fight, hoping for a denial, but all he did was look down. "You're not even going to defend me?" I asked, my voice raw. He sighed. "I didn't mean for it to happen this way." I let out a bitter laugh. "Oh? In what way did you mean for it to happen, Daniel? Were you planning to tell me before or after the baby shower?" He flinched but said nothing. I couldn't breathe. I needed to get out of there. I turned on my heel and walked out, my legs shaking with every step. My vision blurred, but I refused to let the tears fall until I was outside, until I was far away from them. I grabbed my car keys with unsteady hands and drove, my mind racing. Where would I go? What would I do? My marriage was over, my home was ruined. My own sister had betrayed me in the worst way possible. A sob tore through me as I pulled into an empty parking lot. I pressed my forehead against the steering wheel and let the tears fall. How could they do this to me? How could he do this to me? And then a terrifying thought crept into my mind. What if they weren't even sorry because they thought I wouldn't leave? What if they thought I was too weak, too broken to walk away? I wiped my tears, my heart still aching, but a new fire burned within me. I had spent years being the perfect wife, the perfect sister. But where had that gotten me? Alone, betrayed, used. Not anymore. If they thought I was going to sit back and let them win, they were wrong. Very wrong. I sat in my car, staring at my reflection in the rearview mirror. My face was blotchy from crying, my eyes red and swollen. I looked like a woman who had just lost everything. But I hadn't lost everything. Not yet. I took a deep, shaky breath and gripped the steering wheel. I needed a plan. I needed to think. I couldn't go back to that house, not to them. The very thought of sleeping under the same roof as the man who betrayed me and the sister who had stabbed me in the back made my stomach turn. I had a few options. I could go to a friend's house, maybe even a hotel for the night. But deep down, I knew what I really needed to do first. I needed to face them, not as a broken woman begging for answers, but as a woman who deserved them. I turned my car around and drove back home, my heart pounding with each passing second. The house that once felt like a safe haven now felt like enemy territory. As I walked inside, I found them exactly where I left them, sitting on my bed, whispering like lovers caught in a bad romance novel. Linda looked up as I entered, her smirk still intact. "You're back," she said, tilting her head. "Did you decide to forgive us already?" I ignored her and turned to Daniel. "I want the truth." His brows furrowed. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I want to know everything. When did it start? How long? Was I just an idiot this whole time?" My voice wavered, but I stood firm. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, avoiding my gaze. It just happened, okay?" "Nothing just happens," I snapped. "You made a choice, Daniel. Every single time you touched her, every single time you lied to me, you chose her over me." He let out a frustrated sigh. "I didn't mean to hurt you." I laughed bitterly. "Didn't mean to hurt me. You slept with my sister, you got her pregnant. Do you think that just magically didn't hurt?" Linda leaned back against the headboard, sighing dramatically. "Look, if you're done with the dramatics, can we just move on? The baby is coming whether you like it or not." I turned to her, my blood boiling. "You enjoyed this, didn't you?" She shrugged. "I mean, yeah. I finally got what you always had." I stared at her, barely recognizing the woman in front of me. She wasn't my sister. She was a stranger. Number worse, she was the enemy. And Daniel? He wasn't the man I married. He was a coward. "You both deserve each other," I said, my voice steady now. Linda scoffed. "Oh, please, you act like you're going to walk away from this. We both know you won't." Daniel flinched but stayed silent. Maybe deep down, he believed it too, that I was too weak, too broken to leave. But they were wrong. So very, very wrong. I turned on my heel, walked to our closet, and grabbed the biggest suitcase I could find. "What are you doing?" Daniel asked, his voice laced with panic. I didn't answer. I threw open drawers, yanked clothes off hangers, and stuffed everything I could into my suitcase. "You're actually leaving?" Linda asked, her smirk faltering. I zipped up the bag and looked them both in the eye. "Yes." Daniel stood up. "Wait, let's just— No," I cut him off. "You made your choice, Daniel. Now I'm making mine." I grabbed my phone and called a locksmith right in front of them. "Yes, I need my house locks changed immediately." Linda's face twisted in anger. "You can't kick us out." I met her glare with one of my own. "Watch me." Linda shot up from the bed, her face contorted with rage. "You can't just throw us out like this.